So you've seen the story now, a war daily graphic in any man of pay. Teacher trainees, first of all, bisa allowance in the body.
Well, the teacher training allowance has been restored. Doesn't often come regularly, but yes, still, government still is committed to paying it. Currently, we have some arrears in place, some 3 months arrears that have not been paid yet.
You have 3 months arrears that have not been paid yet. Now, the question is, you said it doesn't come regularly. What do you mean by regularly?
Yes, because as you are aware, allowances as they are supposed to be paid at the end of every month. But that's something that is supposed to happen, but that's something that's not happening because you can end a month and then it takes longer than a month before it is being paid.
Currently, how much are you being paid? Say now,
yes, the teaching allowances is 400 Ghana cedis, with which so 261 Ghana cedis goes into feeding, and then 149 comes to the students. But the total component is a 400 Ghana cedis.
Yeah, but you. So the one that you get into your pocket, a year fiscal cash, you are holding it, 149 Ghana cedis.
Yes, exactly. That has been our cry, because since from the beginning, government has resorted to using the teachers' training allowances to sustain feeding in the colleges. So it is something that we clearly concerned about, and it's something that's not happening. And as you are aware, the colleges are not built in a way to allow students to be able to engage in cooking activities and others. So. Yeah. That puts us in the corner where the colleges have to be fair.
But I know that right now you've been upgraded to tertiary. So you are still not allowed to engage in cooking activities?
Yes, it is not about giving the permission, it's about the facilities we have.
Okay.
Yes, so the facilities are not enough. The infrastructure is a challenge. Unlike the traditional universities or some tertiary institutions where you have adequate infrastructure to enable you to cook. In the college space, it isn't like that. So the infrastructure is not enough. We have constantly been advocating for infrastructure increase in the colleges of education, which that has not been met yet, because some assurances have been given, but the colleges are still in deep limbo.
So if I understand you, you've been upgraded to a tertiary institution, but infrastructure-wise, you've been stagnated. I mean, still within your college situation.
So if you follow, So if you follow our activities, if you follow our recent General Assembly, we invited the government and we were trying to see how best the government is aligning policy with practice, because there happens to be a big gap or a drift between policy implementation and the actual practice that goes on in the college space.
Great. 149 Ghana cedis in your pocket, 261 Ghana cedis to support feeding. Now, we are told by the new education minister in the person of Haruna Adrusi that be prepared to forfeit your allowances and rather venture into the realm of student loans, where we that went to the traditional universities have been enjoying. Good news for you.
Well, I will not be quick to say good news, right? I will not be quick to say bad news, because we have also, just like you've got in the story, we just got a story this morning. In the coming weeks, I think next week, somewhere around 15th to 20th, the Prime Minister, we call it on him. We'll be visiting him to have more discussions into some of the policies that directly affect us as students and some of the challenges we face. So until we hold such discussions, for us to clearly appreciate the point of view is coming and the best alternatives that is should, in case the allowances being taken off and then the student loan coming into place, just so that we students will not be more the disadvantage points, even though the allowances are going to be taken off.
But would you prefer the allowances being maintained or scrapped?
Yes, it has been our long call over the years that the allowance is something that is helping the colleges of education, because if you look at the background or the idea behind the implementation of the allowance, reintroduction of the allowance in 2017, those ideals are still intact. Those ideals are still essential to the colleges of education. And for us to underlook those things and then rather shift our attention to looking at sustainability or trying to look at the allowance from a different perspective, as in causing a huge financial burden to government in its fulfillment, it's a different conversation altogether.
But yeah, so as would you prefer being maintained or being scrapped?
If you look at the allowances and the idea behind it, I think it's good. And we as all stakeholders and as students and as Ghanaians, we should appreciate the reintroduction of the allowance and sustain it.
So, a direct question to you. Would you prefer it being maintained or scrapped?
Yes, we would want the allowance to be maintained at all costs. Looking at the impact of the allowance so far and what we think the allowance is doing for us as students.
But 149 Ghana cedis is a peanut, I mean, what yes, really is it doing?
So we will rather prefer an improvement in the allowances. Okay. That is increasing the allowances from the 400 Ghana cedis. We have long call for this short. I think our last discussion with the then Minister for Education, we were proposing for an increment to some 1,000 Ghana cedis, where students will be able to afford all the idea behind the reintroduction of the allowances will fully be met, because I agree with you that 149 Ghana cedis is nothing to write home about. But but that is not to say that 149 Ghana cedis should be scrapped. It should rather be increased, so that the idea and then the ideals for which the allowances have been reintroduced in 2017 will be fully be met.
But the argument here is that the minister is proposing an enhanced student loan scheme for you, meaning you'll be getting even more than you're getting now with the allowance. Don't you think that is a proper and prudent way of you, the students, enjoying your student loan than rather the allowance?
Yes. If you look at the proposal, that's why I said we would have to discuss more into detail and see how we are going to leverage on the enhanced student loan scheme like you're talking about. Mind you, a loan scheme is not a grant. Student loan is a loan, and that is due for repayment after completion or when we later get back to the service. But teachers, as we are, even though we currently do national service, we usually do a teaching practice where we go to the basic schools and we teach. The universities, they don't do this. They only do a service. You get it? They do a national service. But we do, so if you calculate, we do 2 years giving back to the country. So you look at it for you to give back to the country for 2 years and still come back and pay a loan that you have taken. The allowance, as you are all aware, it's a grant. It's a grant that comes to the student, and it motivates for people to embrace teacher education, also help them to purchase the reading materials. And so it's a two-way perspective conversation. Okay, so we as well, like I said, it is something we have also just gotten. We will discuss it properly into detail, and then in our engagement with the Honourable Minister, we hoping to bring it before his attention for consideration.
Now, finally, is it fair, because at the colleges of education, you are pursuing a course as education? I mean, for those of us who went to the traditional universities like University of Education, UCC, KNUST, equally pursuing education, they have the opportunity to access the student loan whilst you do the allowances. Although both of you now, or both institutions, are tertiary, is it fair to your colleagues who are assessing the student loan and you with allowances? Is it fair to them? Would you say it's fair to them?
Good. So we have to make one distinction clear.
Right.
Like you said, our colleagues in the traditional universities equally studying education.
Right.
They study education in the university, we study education in the college. and we are being trained to be teachers. But if you look at their course outline, they don't do something we call pedagogy.
But they also end up in a classroom, just like you end up in a classroom.
Good. So
I mean, if you go to ECC, do education, the end game is for you to go and teach in the classroom.
Please take your point again.
I'm saying that if you go to UCC or University of Education and you study education, the end game and UDS, the end game is for you to go and teach in the classroom, just like you're doing.
Well, that is not the end game, I would say, because for those who do education, if you are aware, those who do education in the university, they equally have other choice to be able to choose, because they are not being pedagogy is not being added there. But when you come to the colleges, you are being trained to be a teacher. So there's no two ways about it. You are going into the colleges, but that is also a conversation that are twofold, because the colleges and the universities are options. So if you want to be a teacher, you go to the college. So people prefer to go to the university. So we need to make teacher education attractive so that people would be willing to take it. That's why we don't have numbers going to the colleges. But if we are able to make the teacher education attractive, providing such incentives, making available these reliefs that will help students to be able to undertake teacher education, that will be something that will promote teacher education. And as we are all aware, there is a clear gap between teacher-classroom ratio in the country. So we should be going ahead to addressing this.
If you want an increment from 149, how much are you looking at?
Yes, like I said, we had earlier on made a proposal of 1,000 Ghana cedis to
1,000 Ghana cedis.
Yes, 1,000 Ghana cedis. That is to include the feeding.
Yeah, the feeding.
And the allowances.
So let's do the breakdown. So
my brother, if you visit a college of education and you see the meal that is being fed to students, and it's not fair. I mean, even senior high school students even feed well more than the colleges. They feed well more than the colleges, because quality has deteriorated completely. So something that we joking with, and yes, so government agencies go there and then they say they are feeding the colleges, but the food there is not something to write home about.
So finally, you are proposing 1,000 Ghana cedis. Now, how much should go to feeding? How much should get into your pocket personally?
Exactly. So we can. That would mean it will give our principals a higher value to be able to plan our meals with. For example, like 500 Ghana cedis for them to use to get something better for students to be able to take and engage in academic activities. Once you usually use the 500 Ghana cedis to buy your teaching and learning material, and then have a better stay on campus.
Razak Soale, Meda said that'll pay. Now, finally, what will be your final words to your colleagues and the minister?
Yes, thank you so much. I think let me first of all thank all students, most especially Savannah College of Education, where we recently just held our third day celebration. Yesterday, on the 3rd of February, we equally donated some polytank to the college and a few other colleges that we've been doing over the years. I want to thank them very much, and then the entire student body, my colleagues, for what we've been doing over the years. For the Honorable Minister, we are looking forward to a good working relation with the Honorable Minister, and he executing policies and initiatives that will ensure that the teacher education is prioritized, and then the public colleges of education receive its fair share of the education allocation that will be given to the Ministry of Education. Because over time, you would have come to agree with me that there has been more attention to senior high schools and traditional universities, leaving the colleges of education left angled in the middle. Because if you look at our challenges, it's not only the allowances as we are having the conversation today. Like I have highlighted before, infrastructure challenges is equally one that we are faced with, coupled with the allowances, licensure issues, the new curriculum that has been implemented in the college space. There are a whole lot of challenges that need redress, and then we are happy that the new Minister for Education, in his statement, was saying he is focused on relevance. So he is going to make sure that he addresses some of these pertinent issues and equally bridge the northern-southern gap of education. These are some things that will go on very well to help the colleges of education in Ghana, and we are looking forward to it. I thank you so much.
Razak, I thank you for your time this morning. Razak Soale, the president of the Teacher Training Association of Ghana across board, one and I am president, Omo Co School, some medani a teacher for one and I am president. Now, your king down say, what's your story? I'm a kind and I pay a neighbor. I will not do to say, teacher training allowance and a beco, ye free. Normally, a student loan number. A branch and say, there be your penny, sir. Penny say, allowances no. Yamani woho. However, Sikane Banusa, in Zanko per se, a say more 400 Ghana cedis, 400 Ghana cedis no. A move 261 Ghana cedis eco feeding. That is a cost school so. And now 149 Ghana cedis eco mubutum. Now, she said on per se, you two more 1,000 Ghana cedis. So 1,000 Ghana cedis no. 500 beko school. And a 500 beko mubutum. Titi and all canon. Now, but your father trusty, Paul Yando, me all saints brother, and now pay. Paul, Aquaba.
Waga, ya be Josu, bro.
Yawakodia.
Oh, Yamia da Roma, Ogusua cry, Damoso.
Yamadum, and so Yawaha. Cowboy, Ababedu, Waha. Cowboy, Aquaba.
Yabru.
Now, Yawako.
I don't. Bible. I hear
Marty. Now, really, I mean, I'm sure say yeah. Paul, want to comment on this teacher training allowance quickly?
Hey, never done a mean to be.
Yeah, comment. I said that maybe sound.
Yeah, Paka.
We because I told lies wrong.
I guess I told me last.
I told lies wrong.
The young pen never by as well.
Said they.
Na Ghana for moto abama. Na nyawa na say we president or your president of one.
Teacher Training Association president.
President.
And the president
representing the interest of students
across board.
The students ne kanyina ne say, "Mu yi free ho a ye ho betre yan." Eti mamu nyi chinchina bayi se wo bayi. Ama nkwale ho akire wo. Say de ye ka ne say, "Se Ghana fo mo to abama mo, omo ka cho say me yi ade ni free ho." Na so wo de chinchina wuntie. Now be here free wa. And ya hu chire tenchrenche ene beba nkola yi so. Na me dia menti ase ne se. Enti nkola yi ye pese ye twe nkola a wo mu kọ teacher training aso ana.
Oh sana ho.
Tese rehu as a teacher training for no de ye fo mu nye hwi.
But Paul,
ye be bia abai bia ba. What you say? Ye di allowance mo no. Then this for there. One more baby opposite ye free on.
Almost the student loan.
And cry somewhere yo ready.
Paul.
Yeah. Mun can be more what paka. Mun can be man kwala because and kwala allowance na bua wo mu obi wo ho di na allowance na o mani nuanu mu bi. What you say? Me ma me cross answer ni bi mo. Ye is can free one kwala be ye den.
Everybody. Paul is comedy.
What's that?
How much allowance?
400 cedis.
400 cedis. Wouldn't break down.
What's that?
Wouldn't break down. 400 wouldn't break down.
Breakdown. And then what chairman said 271 to 251. 261. Equal teacher no for Omadian. Yes, sir.
The cost school. No.
Up for Omadian.
For Dian feeding.
It is a year. I said, okay.
149. And a combo bottom. Sir. It is how often. It is
the American says, ye free horses. Ye free what? A grab there to do school. And the annual school. No. Wouldn't send yourself serve you or more. Teacher ni cry the just say I send this for the woman pay teacher for some who can legacy arrest what you say teacher ni ye djuma bako mfie miansa o abone yire busia abone nua babusia o manya ba djuma e betwa meka na ni pay ye djuma 3 years ni etwa meka 3 months ene ko fa legacy arrest ba pipi ba ye claim free ho eti mi nimbo ne teacher for e de aye John Mahama president any NDC for omo be bia omo ni si omo so eti minister de wa me see Harry na Edusu omo de ne ko so mkogu n'anim ase o mkogu n'anim ase o de obehu
sedenti
one baby a o ye ready to education ko do Ghana no in fact the whole world obi ahu ni say Ghana baby na one ka say na o frɛ afia ko bi nkwala yi ana stem foi niema nkore ye motion detectors aeroplane pese tuo no mo aye ship na navy fo nyina ye na fe de odi won sa kokeka aduane kro mbedie ni ade gi se o se de ya store gu ba bi na akofa abre wo mo na no sa nkore be de nkore ni ani da so kra biem sesei na fe teacher for so mo ko kire nkwa che school system no ene o mpese wo mo se no sesei ye se ko tackle teacher ni aduane ye afri wo teacher ni di come on say we are no your internal satisfaction and your external satisfaction even adwuma mu kra no it's hard there no operate your bebre say staff of Oyerepa FM ma anya satisfied ebeba abonten ama ye nyina hu say adwuma na ego it is also teacher ni aduane say wu yi afri ho eni kakra ba no ho na afri teacher ni na wo san
but
abena Dr. Alhaji Mahmudu Baumia promise wo say wo gof kraka kra ba teacher ni ye be mo yi ni kwa
po yabuche
oh erade
po one president loan system na this for the bank say omu ya allowance na you say the student loan but mind you say college of education is a tertiary institution into omni UST ni UDS ni UCC na ababeyepe ya e call UST ni UCC ni UDS in your student loan in that thing to be called college of education on your student loan
me pacho
you think it is wrong
me pacho teacher ni ochira de university ye ntwanika ada na sa de book research allowance sama no
with you
unya se wutie me allowance ada na lecturer ni obo bra senior lecturer wan ni nyina ye sa de allowance ma omo in fact parliament for ye ntwa mo nka ye sa fa allowance ma omo wo te de America na se allowance ya de a wo nim se wa ginya de abetua bia ntino wo je a etimi ma wo de ye niema bi boa wa setrem ewiase abrabo a ye bo de ye bo se
na student loan no so be boa wo ko ginya loan
ba asema make I want it me say university me pacho university ye co school ye bibia kwa no ye ngi bursary even masters level ye ngi bursary me tell you say no I can ye ngi bursary just wo kwa watwa usika kura we no yesa ma bibi kakra say san fa boa wo thesis ni ade and then ka watwa school fees nyina wie no over 16,000 and over no adenti ni san ma bursary eti akra na wo kira de wo jeje ntiti abekira de no there should be stakes ade e ku shini kakra eti ade ma obi ho to no bia ndc everywhere
mate
Ghana for munti ona na ka kira no say educational sector pa dia em se mu wo ni nyina ne nkwala na ye kira ma de ni nyina no ene teacher fo ni nyina no ndc person mo aduane mo no aduane bomo what you say teacher ni answer boy
ya Paul Kobna Yando Ashanti region director of communications Edema MPP and some more Canada and opinion Mahmoud Kabori dean of Ashanti region NDC communicators
mini also kama min ka bibi kakra fa no oh fine man
the appointment in my own
na de NDC form wa Ashanti region asia to o match ya to o match Wallace kwa the DC ni di ambem o qualify
I mean they've given very juicy positions
ama
for J ni Abbas no juicy positions what just say
Wallace BB Dantoa ene friend is Gabi ene mo nto mu do mu nya nipa
kaka when then is what is happening then
is Godfather on yeah Kabori erade what accident now
oh minim say campaign me I know
NDC
erade yeah come on
paka me chairman na yemo babazo duma so na me
but so appointment ehia no
yeah obi anamre anya me di ni nshiraba
masa ya ka chichire
me dan nyame zekuru bi di no
da yam he no anu
omumua wa bre
eche watiefo ne wahwefo nyina omaje brand adajem mame fanche modruma mampanini Ghana mampanini John Dramani Mahama na mentia minister of education and pay I think say ye boy apro nyina